He's made 316 runs at an average of 105 and a strike rate of 146. He's got 250s, one century and the orange cap. He says he's still got it, but there seems to be a section of fans who don't want it. Even Ian Bishop had to take back his words for praising a 39-ball 50 in the last game. So Virat Kohli has been criticized for being slow, hogging deliveries and costing RCB higher totals. Do you think this is valid criticism?
There are ways and ways of looking at his performance and RCB's performance. In my opinion, the bigger problem or the biggest problem for RCB so far has been not Virat Kohli, the number of deliveries he's consumed, because let's not forget he's the highest scorer in the league. And sometimes you play to the situation. You don't play just for the strike rate. You try and play to win the match. But the biggest problem for RCB has been the non-performance so far of Glenn Maxwell and to a large degree Cameron Green. And also Faf du Plessis not in the best of forms. Rajat Patidar not making much of an impact. And of course, then they've got their bowling, which is quite weak. You might feel that in the previous game they should have got more than 183, 184, out of which Virat got 100. So he's contributed substantially. But they are unable to defend, even 200, even 205, 190. So I think the problem for RCB is not so much Virat. I think Virat's, the comparison for all top order batsmen now is, hey, this guy's got a strike rate of 200, this guy's got a strike rate of 190. And what's Virat's strike rate? It's about 140, 150 in between that band, which is not bad if the other players are also performing. But if they are not, then, obviously it shows up a dimension that the team is lacking. And then you say, oh, but if he's the best batsman of the team, why isn't he doing it? So there are many ways of looking at it. I don't think that's his form is the worry. If you ask me from the point of view of the Indian team and the selectors and the chief coach and the captain who are obviously monitoring all these players, I don't think that is an issue. Within the capsule of the IPL, you might say, yes, RCB is struggling again. This looks like one more season where they're not going to be, possibly not going to be winning the title. It's too early to say, of course, but that could be possible. But I think if they have to make a kind of a bid to become, more serious contenders, I think that there is a lot more work, not from Virat, but from the others that needs to be done.
Yeah, so moving on, when we first previewed the season, you were quite high on Rajasthan Royals, Ayaz. So they won 4 out of 4, they are table toppers right now, and this is despite Jaiswal not firing and Butler just finding his groove in the last match. So still early days, but do you think they look comfortable for the playoffs now?
Yeah, I think I really fancy this team. Amongst the teams that I mentioned, the 4 teams was Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings, and Rajasthan Royals and Sunrisers Hyderabad. I had not factored in KKR, who've been doing fabulously well, and of course I didn't know that Mumbai would take so long to get off the blocks, so to speak. But Rajasthan, what's appealing to me now that Josh Butler is also firing? Yes, Yashasvi Jaiswal hasn't done much. But there is a sting of other youngsters who are doing extremely well. Riyan Parag, Sanju Samson, for instance. And then they've got, the repertoire of skills that they've got at their disposal. They've got left-hand batsmen, right-hand batsmen, power strikers, bowlers, spin bowlers of different kinds. They've got fast bowlers, somebody like Trent Bolt who's got magnificent experience and skills. And then they've got young guys like an Avesh Khan. And then an IPL expert, so to speak, like in Sandeep Sharma. So they've got, not to forget, Ravi Ashwin and Yuzvendra Chahal. So they seem to kind of tick all the boxes. And if Yashasvi also starts getting runs, they can get very difficult to stop. They've got a lot of young energy and they've got a lot of experience.
Yeah, so from the top of the table, we go to near the bottom now. Mumbai Indians, as you said, finally got their first win and they scored a massive 234. But they did so against Delhi Capitals, who are at the bottom of the league. So did you notice anything different about Mumbai's approach, or was it just that a few players came off? I mean, did you see any hint of a turnaround?
Yes, the hint of a turnaround comes from the fact that players who are otherwise struggling, the key players, have got runs in this match. I was there the 1K day, and Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya, Tim David, all of them got runs. Jasprit Bumrah, as always, was the pick of the bowlers, bowled magnificently. But the impact, the use of the impact sub, Romario Shepherd, with bat first and then with ball, I think that it's a team that coexists. Suddenly, he's also started getting wickets. So it's not enough to just be bowling at the start and at the death. And, you will concede runs somewhere or the other. But if you start taking wickets, then you become, great value for money. So I think that's beginning to happen with Mumbai. I mean, Hardik was under a lot of pressure, being booed here, there, and everywhere. It didn't happen so much at the 1KT last Sunday. So it just shows that if the team starts winning, the pressure on him will obviously ease. But I really like the approach of Rohit. I just thought that he was magnificent. He made 49, didn't get a half century. But in that period that he batted, he was hitting sixes at will, and Rohit, as we know him. So if they get this rhythm going a little more in the next few games, then other teams better watch out.
Yeah. So lastly, I mean, it's still early days, but what do you make of the more popular teams, so to say, languishing at the bottom? Now you have Mumbai, you have Bangalore, you have Delhi, even Chennai lost their last two games. I mean, it opens up the league, it's intriguing for the table, but do you foresee some sort of drop off in interest from the casual fan if this keeps up?
I wouldn't say so because you've got 6 weeks more remaining in the league. I think what's critical over the next 2.5 weeks is that the Indian team for the T20 World Cup is, as I understand, May 1 is the cutoff date for announcing the team for squads for all over the world. They might actually extend it now with the IPL coming along so strongly. And, you want to still assess form. So I don't know how the ICC responds to that. But for the Indian players, certainly, and of course for overseas players for their own teams, respective teams, but for the Indian players, somebody like a Chahal, I mentioned that he's the highest wicket taker as of now, and he's making a strong bid for a comeback. And there is a cluster of fast bowlers trying to get into the team with Mohammad Shami's place being vacant, and so on. Youngsters, batsmen, Riyan Parag, Abhishek Sharma, and so on, Yashasvi Jaiswal trying to stake a claim to be in the team. I think in terms of the IPL alone, Anirudh, as I mentioned earlier, overseas players not clicking for RCB, but if they've clicked for Rajasthan Royals, Bolt and Butler in the last match, they've clicked handsomely for Rajasthan, for KKR, the two Caribbean players, Sunil Narayan and Andre Russell. For Sunrisers Hyderabad, Travis Head, Markram, Pat Cummins, and of course, Heinrich Klaassen. So if the overseas, this is where the three teams at the bottom are struggling a bit. Delhi Capitals, Warner, and Heinrich Nortje not doing enough, very tepid still. For Mumbai Indians, till the last game, till we saw Romario Shepherd really kind of playing that explosive knock, they were also behind in terms of contribution from the overseas players. So I think these need to come in. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for these teams to get into the upper band. I think what's happening is also, we've not talked much of Lucknow Super Giants, but they are also coming into their own. But Gujarat Titans is kind of, struggling a bit in the absence of Hardik Pandya, who's such a crucial figure for not just Mumbai Indians, was for Gujarat Titans, but could also be everybody, the attention of Agarkar and Dravid and Rohit Sharma, because he can be such a vital component in the T20 team. So Gujarat Titans struggling a bit with Hardik not being there and Shami not being there.
Yeah. So still early days, but we have a few trends that are sort of appearing right now, and we'll keep bringing you the action every 3 to 4 days now. So that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.